This is Afroeconomics with JB Bryan. Afroeconomics is a strategic financial management program designed for the advancement of Black wealth in America and abroad.
Welcome to the Carl Nelson Show
on Washington, D.C.'s 1450 WOL Radio and live around the world on WOLDCnews.com.
And thanks for joining us, folks. We hope you had an enjoyable weekend. Financial advisor JB Bryan is here to help us navigate again this economic reset that's underway caused by the virus. JB, welcome back to WOL Radio.
It's good to be here. I love the way you say reset. Is that versus a restart? I said, you know what? I got to think about that. That is nice. I keep hearing that once you said that, then I started really seeing it on some other headlines. Carl, you start things. You're a starter.
I just want to make sure that our folks, are there, because now the reset is underway. So our folks, are not at the back of the line again. The playing field is sort of level because we know they're going to change the goalposts and move it when the game starts. But at least give us a good shot.
That's right.
So there are no excuses. That's
right.
Where I'm at with this.
That's right. I mean, because if you ever think about it, the difference between a reset and a restart, that you chose to say reset. Reset means to start, but to do things differently. Something has changed where a lot of people just want the economy to restart. But when you say reset, you're saying, in which all of us agree, that some things need to be changed because of what we're going through. That we need to reset, but not go back where we were. That we need to start thinking about minimum wage and why is our health insurance connected to our work all the time, and what type of jobs are we in, and how is my job unessential? Do I need to get additional skill in things that are essential and headed to the future? But I think that I hope that everyone's listening, that you said reset, meaning it's time for us to take action on making things different for ourselves and to take this time in politics. Don't just vote. Make sure that the people that you're voting in will represent our need to stop being on the minimum wage, and that minimum wage definitely needs to be higher. And when we're losing jobs, we're losing our health insurance. That's a problem, and it's politically connected. And during a political season, we really need to say, let's not just restart. Let's reset this with some things that will change the lives for the majority of people.
All right, let's start with the insurance, though, because a lot of folks, they lost their jobs or were furloughed, laid off. One of the things, some companies did, allow them to keep their health benefits for a few weeks or a few months, but a lot of them lost those health benefits. What do they do with it? JB, what advice do you have for those folks?
That's right. And some people that haven't lost it have the COBRA plan. And every time I see someone who has the opportunity to be in COBRA, it's so unaffordable. I mean, the average employer is paying about $20,000 in health insurance premiums for their employees. So each employee, $20,000. So when you have to pay that premium for each family that's in their plan. So if you have to take that over through the COBRA plan, like if you lose your job and they say, but you can still stay on the COBRA, if they're not paying any of their contribution, you could be paying over $10,000 or $20,000, which is the average for a family through the employer plans. So that is a lot of money. So definitely, if you lost it, don't have access to COBRA, or if you have COBRA and you found that it is unaffordable, which a lot of families are saying that, you need to take advantage of the healthcare.gov website within 60 days of losing your job. And that's the key. Don't get kind of stuck where you're just stressing out about what's going on and you think that you'll get back to that. It has to be on top of the agenda. They will do testing for you for free But if you go to the hospital and you're tested positive for COVID-19, they will admit you, and that is not free. So we need, and according to research, Carl, it says that a person who doesn't have health insurance is less likely to go to the hospital anyway because they're afraid of the bill. So we have to, and then they end up on too many cases of they have to almost be on their deathbed and their family is taking them in because they're like, don't worry about the money. We have to go in. And you don't want that to be the case. We really need our people to take advantage of the healthcare.gov website, look at the options, because this is a special enrollment period created for you because you just lost your job. So, and you don't know
Let me jump in here and ask you this, though, JB, because this be part of the reason why so many of the victims of the virus are black or Hispanic? Could it be be part of the reason as well?
That's right, because they're less likely to have, unfortunately, to have a job that provides health insurance benefits, and less and less employers are providing it. And so, yes, indeed, if you're less likely to have a job that has the full benefits package and the health insurance included, then you're going to put off that expense of even visiting the emergency room. I mean, think about most doctors' offices closed first. So you had to, even if you just felt like you had a cold, you had to go to the ER because the doctor's offices closed, the regular doctors. And they said, go to the emergency room if you're sick or if you need to check to see if you have the flu or COVID-19. So then you put off going. So when you put off going, then when you do go, it could have advanced way too far. So we do need to make sure that we have the health insurance coverage for your entire family that's depending on you. Carl, you know that interesting information that I read this morning, and it was written by a politician in Washington State. And this is why our politicians are very important, because he was writing that there is a gap. If you have an 18-year-old child that is still a dependent, say they're in college and they're 18 to 24, and then they're in college, you did not get $500 for them because they're considered, they're an adult. So you have a lot of people who their child is still a dependent, but they did not get the $500 check because any child over 17 was not covered. So now this particular politician is bringing it forward to Congress to discuss. These are high expense dependents that, and the parents or the parent or the person who's taking care of them, is not getting any of that $500 that other people with children did receive. So there's a look back at how do we cover like college students or graduate students that are dependent or still being they're on their parents' tax return, but the parents are taking full responsibility of taking care of them, but they didn't get that $500 for every child. So that's interesting thought, as well as their health insurance for that age group. That we need to remind everyone that you can carry your children on your work plan up to age 26. So if your child, and I was sitting next to a lady in an airplane one day, and she was saying her daughter had switched jobs, forgot that she needed to have health insurance because her daughter was like out of college and doing great and, 23, 24 years old, and this is before they allowed parents to take the child on till 26. So her daughter had no health insurance, went to the doctor, found out she had like advanced cancer. And it was a huge, huge expense on the family trying to make sure that was taken care of. So we're in that type of situation now, but, where we need to make sure, especially that age group, that they're covered and that you take them or you help them go to healthcare.gov. If you don't have it at your job, make sure you get them. You can get them an individual plan on healthcare.gov. Do what you have to do to make sure that everyone in the family is covered.
All right. You got some tweet questions for you. One of them is the stimulus on the stimulus. And the other question is, the person says he heard that, I don't know if it's a he or a she, but the person says heard that they don't have to pay their rent or mortgage until after the shutdown is over. Is there any truth in that? Do you know? Is there any truth in that?
Well, you have to communicate to that person. I would be careful with the rent unless you have actually talked to the landlord about that. Most federal loans, a loan from the bank that is backed by the federal government, they have been directed to make sure that they allow you to not pay your mortgage if you cannot pay it. And the part that hurts is that if you can pay it. That's your bill. And it always will become an issue later on. There is absolutely nothing, not a scenario where I can think that it will benefit you if you don't pay that bill. If you don't have the money, then don't pay it because you can't pay it. But if you have the money, you have to pay it. Don't allow them to put it on the end of your loan or we're only going to charge you interest or there'll be no late fee, but you catch it up in 90 days. Don't do that. Don't allow it to pile up. You have the money, pay the bill. Hang
on a second, JB. Yes. We got to take a short break.
Yes.
And we got another tweet here. This one from a landlord. He's got the other end of that question he wants to ask you. Folks, you got a question for JB Bryan, reach out to us at 800-450-7876. We'll take your calls after this short break right here on 1450. WOL, where information is power.
I'm JB Bryan, the creator of Afro Economics, a strategic financial empowerment program based on 10 timeless financial principles like generational wealth and legacy, financial knowledge, credit confidence, entrepreneurship, self-reliance, and more. Afro Economics gives you the guidance and tools you can use to develop and sustain wealth. Check out Afro Economics on your favorite social media platforms. You will find us everywhere. Plus, enjoy my weekly Afro Economics podcast. There are many levels of Afro Economics membership, including the free online access membership level called No Excuses. So make no excuses and check out afroeconomics.com today. Powered by JB Bryan Financial Group, Incorporated, a registered investment advisory firm. #AfroEconomics.
On the web and social media at WOLDC News. And now back to the Carl Nelson Show on Washington, D.C.'s 1450 WOL Radio.
And thanks for staying with us, folks. I guess it's JB Bryan. A question about finances. This is the lady you need to talk to. Again, the number is 800-450-7876. And Tim, JB, we got a tweet from Tim, and I figured we'd get this, but I didn't figure it'd be that quick. But he's a landlord in the DMV. He's got tenants, and his tenant told him just what I said to you, that they don't have to pay any rent until this is over. He said, if that is true, is there any recourse for landlords? Because he's still got a mortgage.
Yeah, that's right. And what he should confirm with the municipalities that it is a mandate. Every municipality does not have that as a mandate. There are some cities that have probably urged landlords, but I think that that's a stretch for them to assume that they do not have to pay. And then, so I know that your municipality, and the landlords are voters too. And like he said, he has a responsibility. That's his building. Now, I think that you probably cannot evict them because the courts are closed. But there's probably still a way that you can start beginning the process. If they haven't communicated why they can't pay, if it is a financial challenge for you, you really need to let them know that that's not the law. That's not true in this municipality. You have to pay it. If you don't pay it, there's going to be a late fee. If it is true in your municipality, then you need to ask them, what are they going to do to subsidize the landlord? What type of loan do they have available to you as the property owner? Because that is seriously becoming an issue. I saw, like, even in Europe, this man was saying that he that owned a property that Adidas was renting from, the big sneaker company. And they wrote a letter and told everybody they weren't paying any bills, no leases, nothing. And then the public found out about it. And basically they all said, like, wait a minute, you're still making money. Why would you not pay the people that you owe? And I think that that's still true for us as people that are in someone's facility, especially now for the next, even if you're on unemployment, everyone is getting that extra $600 a month. So if you lost your job due to this, you just lost your job, you filed unemployment, and if you lost your job because of COVID-19, you're getting the basic unemployment plus the $600 extra until July 15th. Now, after July 15th, if they don't continue that, then maybe I could say, that things have drastically changed. But if a person had a job before this, then they are sitting pretty, and enough to take care of that.
In your estimation, do you think they're going to have to do another stimulus check, another run? Because do you think this $1,200 is going to be sufficient?
Yeah, and I shouldn't say sitting pretty, but but they're sitting pretty stable if they had a job going into this situation. But if they didn't have a job and they didn't have any savings, and they're doing pretty bad, but they were doing bad before, and that's the unfortunate part. But if they're going to add more money into this, it's just going to hurt us economically even more down the road. So that's the part that is most frightening, especially for the Black community, because we know that a lot of the jobs that we have lost, you may not get that job back. And that's what we have to think. You have to think about your job. Is it really needed? With this reset, how is it going to help that company? They are figuring out ways to get around your job. If you lost your job, that is a job that they are including in the reset of that's non-essential. And I can replace that position possibly even with a computer because I've been doing that. And if they're still being able, like one brother was telling me about, he's in graphics. They closed his whole division and are just doing everything using the computer for that part of their entire company, and it is more profitable. That's going to be happening over and over in order for these companies to succeed and to continue to get the earnings, especially if they're public companies that are traded on the stock exchange. It's about profits. It's about making sure that they're making more money on the bottom line. So, and everything in between is an expense. So, we need to adjust your standard of living and get additional training. If you for some reason are making as much money as you were before, but your expenses are down because you don't have to drive, you don't have the commute, you don't have the parking, some expenses have to be down. Take that money and invest it in the additional training that might help you be able to put in resumes in different positions if that job does not work out again.
All right, folks, just joined us. Financial advisor JB Bryan is here. The number to call to speak to her, 800-450-7876. I want to remind you that this year, Radio 1 is celebrating 40 years of informing, inspiring, and entertaining the community. The D.C. Lottery and WOL are now teaming up to give you a chance to win the exclusive 40th anniversary Radio 1 Scratcher with more than $800,000 in various prizes and cash. So keep it right here for your chance to win. JB, speaking with some friends over the weekend, they'll tell me that prices in the stores are just going up,
That's
going
true.
out of sight.
That's true.
And is this a precursor to inflation? So what should we do? Should we stock up now? Because it seems like the prices never go down; they always go up.
What do you think they were like talking about, like groceries and stuff, like?
Yeah,
look, which we would call essentials, indeed, and they have gone up. I mean, it is extremely obvious that the price of just your basic chicken, and things has gone up so much. And I think that definitely that's inflation. That's what inflation is, when the cost of things are gone up. But if I had to create the consumer price index right now, gas prices are down so much that it would look like we don't have any inflation, because they take all of things together. But by next year, this time, you're going to have, they are saying that health insurance will be up by 40%. So if you're saying the average employer is now paying $20,000 per family, they could be paying like $30,000. So you're going to find a lot of business not even providing it because it's unaffordable. So things like that, we haven't even touched on the inflation that we could possibly feel come first quarter of next year or before, because it's going to hit.
JB, should they stock up, or should they?
True. I think that's
stock up or write it out?
I think that stocking up is an impossible idea, especially when it comes to food. I think the best idea is to stop spending your money. You need to save your money. You need to buy only exactly what you need. And if there was ever a time when you need to learn how to be a minimalist, it's right now. And the sad part is that so many people are seeing this as they think they're going to be able to restart, meaning get right back online. But remember, we're saying this is a reset. Things are going to be different than they were. And it's going to take some serious change in order for it to be better. But we have to make sure that you do not accumulate any debt during this time, even though they're running all those beautiful commercials about buying cars and buying furniture and getting yard work done and all these things. You cannot afford. Now, I'm just saying, I'm telling you how I totally feel this from a financial advisor perspective. You cannot afford to not have money stored up going forward. And there are so many people that don't even have at least $1,000 available. So this is your time. If they send you $1,000, you have to have it. Yes.
JB, let me interrupt you and ask you this, because you said you should have at least $1,000 stored up. Many people, they said, third people don't even have a month's
That's right.
of money stored up. So when you say stored up, do you mean in the bank, or do you mean
That's right.
under the bed, or where?
Put it in your guaranteed bank account. And I don't even think you should make it complicated at all. This money needs to be readily available, because what happens is you get this $1,000 and then you start talking about where should I invest, or which app are you going to go on and give them your money. No, this is the reason that we don't have the money, is because we're not taking the discipline that is required to not touch it. So I challenge everyone that gets the $1,200 plus money for each of their children. You have to save that money. You have 2 children. You should have right now, if you got that money, $2,200 should be right there in your savings account. Right there in your savings account. That should be the beginning of everybody's life with 2 kids. And if you're a single parent, if you're together and you qualify for that, you got $1,200, mom and dad, 2 kids, got it. That's what they have, over $3,000. They could, seriously, if you would sit on that and allow that to be there for 90 days, your entire mentality about money will change. In just 90 days, the discipline that it requires to not touch that money will change your life. I guarantee it. But the overwhelming majority of people will not be able to leave it alone. They're going to go out of their way.
We're coming up on a break.
Yes.
But when we come back, tell us what's the best advice you have for us when we get the stimulus money? Because you're saying just look at it. I know it's going to be tempting just to stare at it. You say put it in a bank account. So we'll talk about that after this quick break right here on 1450 WOL, where information is power.
I'm JB Bryan, the creator of Afroeconomics, a strategic financial empowerment program based on 10 timeless financial principles like generational wealth and legacy, financial knowledge, credit confidence, entrepreneurship, self-reliance, and more. Afroeconomics gives you the guidance and tools you can use to develop and sustain wealth. Check out Afroeconomics on your favorite social media platforms. You will find us everywhere. Plus, enjoy my weekly Afroeconomics podcast. There are many levels of Afroeconomics membership, including the free online access membership level called No Excuses. So make no excuses and check out afroeconomics.com today. Powered by JB Bryan Financial Group, Incorporated, a registered investment advisory firm. #Afroeconomics.
Follow us on Instagram at WOLDC News.
And now back to the Carl Nelson Show on Washington, D.C.'s 1450 WOL Radio.
And thanks for staying with us, folks. Our guest is a financial advisor. Her name is JB Bryan from Afroeconomics. If you want to find out how to save money, how to make money, this is a lady you need to talk to. We got two folks on holding online want to speak to you, JB. But I'm going to let you finish your response and tell us for the folks who will get their stimulus money, what's the best way and how they should handle it. You say put it in a savings account?
Well, yes.
Or what?
Yes. It's very easy for me to make that answer, to say that, because even as an investment advisor, I make money off investing people's money. The reason that most people don't get the returns on the market that they deserve is because they don't have their emergency fund. So if you don't have the money saved, what are you going to go to get your money? You're going to go into the market. And you're going to go and take it out of your retirement account. You're going to go. So if we would start focusing on, I need to have at least 3 months of my expenses available to me in cash, it will develop that discipline that will teach you to be a better investor. And we never think about that because we're always being sold. Nobody is really focusing on our community about empowerment. It's always one idea after another. This. But my Afroeconomics philosophy is about legacy, about developing a foundation, about developing a mindset and a family lifestyle of pure discipline. So once you get into that, where it's a lifestyle that I save, then once you're a saver, your kids learn to be a saver. And they go, well, no, we can't have that right now. Then they become the success stories, like in the marshmallow study, of the child who can delay gratification and not eat the marshmallows in an experiment when they're told wait to get to it later. They learn that from a family life of getting to it later. Because if you are not a saver, your children are not a saver. You know, as people will say jokingly, I'm just like my mama. I'm just like my daddy. That's not cool. No, if you want to be just like them, you focus on the good things, the things that they got right. And you want it to be that when we used to not have an emergency fund, but I'm going to tell you, when that COVID-19 came by and I was working harder than ever and they brought that check, I said, boom, I'm putting this over here. Boom, boom, boom. We need to start storing. We should save half of what we make. Unapologetically, put it away. You get that 3 months emergency fund, then you think about investing. 6-month emergency fund is even more comfortable. Then if something happens, you lose your job, you go through this, you don't have to worry about telling your landlord, I don't have the money, because the municipalities, when you have money, you proudly pay your bills. You want to pay your bill. You're running the man down to pay it. That's what I want everybody to feel that listens to your show. How good it feels to have a financially sound mindset and lifestyle. That's true freedom. Until we are set like that and you have that savings that can protect your family for at least 3 months, at least, you're still a slave. You're still, you have no freedom because you can't take care of yourself. You can't take care of your family.
All right. I mentioned we got some folks want to talk to you. 800-450-7876. Mr. Camille is on line 2, calling from the district. Mr. Camille, I'm with, I guess, JB Bryan. Kamal, I'm sorry.
Hello?
Hi.
Yes, Kamal, I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
No, that's all right. Greetings to both of you. I'm on Social Security, and I talk to a lot of people that are on Social Security. They have not gotten a stimulus check, nor have I. Is there anything I can do?
They're supposed to have a website up. Sometimes I see that it is up, and then sometimes I see that articles that say the website is coming up. But I would call the Social Security number and tell them, instead of anyone else, I would just call them just to have your connection into the government, because they're probably getting a little bit less calls. But what might happen is that you'll call and hold on for them, and then they'll say, I don't know, you need to call this number. But you are definitely going to get a check. But it could be that you have not, you're still getting your Social Security, but it's more connected to the IRS, though, than to your Social Security check. So say for the last couple of years, you've had to pay taxes versus receiving taxes, then you're probably going to get it in the mail. And they've given themselves until the end of this year to actually get money to you. But I hope it gets to you way before that.
Yeah. Me too.
But yes, but definitely don't hesitate to call me. I'll have no problem helping you. We can search on the internet. I'll do that complimentary. Just, give me a call, 1-844 JB Bryan, and we will Google and find exactly the best way. Because one thing I do know is that on Social Security, you still qualify for the check, as long as your total income doesn't exceed the qualification. Because you could be getting Social Security, but you're also getting pension income. It could be taking you over the limit.
No, I'm way under the limit.
Okay. Well, let's, if I can help you, let's do it.
All right. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. And if any solace in it, people in Puerto Rico, the entire island of Puerto Rico, nobody's got a check yet. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's pretty rough out there. 800-450-7876. Angela's calling from Cincinnati. Angela's on line 3. Angela, you're on with JB Bryan.
Hi, Angela.
Greetings, Mr. Nelson. Pleasure to talk to you and JB. Good to be receiving this wonderful advice from you. I'm really blessed by that.
Thank you.
Wanted to ask, though, a lot of us were caught totally off guard by this whole COVID-19 crisis, and some have even decided to get into their retirement. What would you recommend people be advised of who are considering dipping into their 401k or 403b, and what are the repercussions of that action down the road?
That's right. I would first ask them, what is their point? What are they doing? Because what has it been, 30 days? So they might be 1 month behind on something. I don't know. What is their point? Did they file for unemployment? Why would you think that it's okay to play with your retirement? No, I would totally ask them that. And that's what happens a lot, because the government says you can do something, then we'll do it. So it says you can take money out of your retirement plans without the 10% penalty at 48 years old. But have you thought about how hard it is to be broke when you're 78 or 88? And that what you're doing at 48 will hurt you more than you can even imagine at 88 years old. When you look at the statistics, a black woman is more likely to be old and poor than anyone else on this planet. So so anyone that looks like me who needs to seriously consider when she says, and him as well, but especially you, why would, someone that looks like me even consider that? We cannot afford that. According to research, we have less wealth than anyone else. So they have research that says that we're going to have zero wealth by the year 2040. So why can't we just defy that and not do everything that is made available to us? Like they say sometimes, like, it ain't about you. That's not about us. Accessing your retirement early. Like, that's for the person who, for some odd reason, like, just say they own their own business and they have this retirement plan and they want to use that to take it out. And then they're getting money back, say they're getting a loan from the government, you know what I mean? And then they're able to put their money back into their retirement account because, their business is going to pay them back. Like, that's a person. But the average person is not, at this situation, doesn't know exactly how they would come back up with that money within, the time period. I think they're even like giving you like an extended time period before you have to you can put it back in. Like, you can put it back in longer. You generally have to put it back in within 60 days, in order for it to still continue to grow forward. Because you can do that anytime out of an individual retirement account without the penalty if you put it back in within the 60 days. So they've extended that. But you literally can take it out. Too many people take things out of their retirement account every day just because of job changes, and they never put it back again. So, and most of the time, they do that just because they're afraid in between the jobs. They're afraid that they were not going to get another job. But a job change is still not a reason for you to spend your retirement. But if you're truly disabled, well, you're disabled. So when you're disabled, they don't give you that penalty for accessing your money anyway, because you're disabled and your life expectancy has been shortened. So there's really, if you are a healthy person and you're going to live a regular life, we're expected to live at least until like 82. So if we live that long, like, you really could be making a bad move by taking that money out now. And I can't really overemphasize how much it can hurt not giving yourself the time, even if you don't add any more money to it. Like, you go, oh, I don't have any money to add. That's still no excuse to take it out, because of compounding returns over time. You will still do well as long as you've invested it properly. It just needs to have the time. If we base that on historical long-term performance, if you give it time, it will benefit you without adding. But if it's not in there, then you're going to it's going to be a bad hit. It's a bad hit.
Let's go right there, JB. We got to take a quick break here. Angela, stay with us if you have a follow-up question. Folks, you want to join us, reach out to us, 800-450-7876. Speak to our financial advisor, JB Bryan. Your calls are coming up next, right here on 1450. WOL, where information is power.
I'm JB Bryan, the creator of Afro Economics, a strategic financial empowerment program based on 10 timeless financial principles like generational wealth and legacy, financial knowledge, credit confidence, entrepreneurship, self-reliance, and more. Afro Economics gives you the guidance and tools you can use to develop and sustain wealth. Check out Afro Economics on your favorite social media platforms. You will find us everywhere. Plus, enjoy my weekly Afro Economics podcast. There are many levels of Afro Economics membership, including the free online access membership level called No Excuses. So make no excuses and check out afroeconomics.com today. Powered by JB Bryan Financial Group, Incorporated, a registered investment advisory firm. #Afro Economics.
And now back to the Carl Nelson Show on Washington, D.C.'s 1450 WOL Radio.
Thanks for staying with us, folks. Our guest is financial advisor JB Bryan. Her company's called Afro Economics. Number to call to speak to her, 800-450-7876, as we prepare to take advantage of this economic reset that's taking place right now. So let's go back out to JB. So, JB, I'm going to let you finish your response to Angela in Cincinnati.
No, but I guess everybody knows that I just think, no, don't take any money. Don't take any money out of your retirement account. I can't really even, well, other than the one that I was saying where if a person just had the retirement account and they were using it to keep their business open because they had to save their business or something like that, and they were going to pay it right back because they were getting the payroll loan or payroll payment, from the government or something, the payroll stimulus check for the businesses or some sort of loan for their business that they could pay it back. I can't see how you would justify it. Even if it were, I can't pay my mortgage, I still, in situations like that, Carl, have to see, will it really help them? Because many people get loans out or even take a loan or even take this distribution and hurt their retirement and still don't have any, continual income to keep paying that payment. So sometimes things happen in your life that you can't afford that particular debt anymore. And instead of putting an effort into, I need to get rid of this, or I need to sell this, or I need to, because I can't afford this anymore, we start just getting rid of everything and making some really bad moves that make the bad situation even worse. So
I tell you what, JB, if you can show up on the answer, that I really appreciate. You got a bunch of folks got a question.
No, but I'm like, bottom line, it's not a good idea. Be very careful with taking money out of your retirement. Yeah.
All right. Angela, you have a follow-up? You still with us?
Oh, yeah, I'm still here. Thanks a lot for the advice, JB. I'll take that to heart.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Angela.
Thanks, Angela. 800-450-7876. Go to Atlanta now on line 4. Howard's reaching out to us. Howard, you're on with JB. Is it Fahim? Fahim. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey, good afternoon.
Hi.
To the both of you, and thanks for your service to the community. But, JB, I trying to wrap my head around how a country that's over its budget by trillions of dollars spend trillions of dollars. Last night I listened to the football draft, and just one team spending trillions and millions and millions of dollars.
That's right.
We hear every year how the government struggles to pay its debt and to not default. Can you explain, does this money have any value? And after this, do we go to a new currency, cryptocurrency, or something else? And how does this get paid back? I know that's a lot, but
well,
that's what's going on in my mind. I'm trying to
know.
And
I really try to encourage us not to think that way, like not to think about an alternate currency, but to focus on that the United States government, this is the biggest economy in the world, and they print their own money. So we have a check and balance system where they know exactly already what they're going to do to get this back in check. They know exactly that they're doing this to keep everything going. And they know exactly, this is also very political. So when we get to after this political season and we get into, I tell you, the first quarter of next year, you're going to see a serious tightening and change into this from this attitude. But I just think that right now there isn't but so much that people can take. And so in order to get through this major crisis, the government is doing what it can to keep everybody afloat. And when we get to the other side of
JB, he said next year there's going to be a major tightening. Can you explain what? Because
that's right.
He wants to know. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, they're not going to have any problem with you being unemployed. Like right now, you can get, this extra, not you, but I mean, we're getting that extra, or many people on unemployment are getting that extra money, but it's not going to exist come next quarter. This is going to be a far memory that COVID will not be remembered. Nobody will understand why you're broke, but that's not going to change the fact that everything is still run off the American economy and our dollar will continue to exist. I have no doubt in America at all. Like it.
Let me ask one more
definitely.
question. Okay, in the past, we look back at history, and when times like this happen, the governments have tightened up taxes and exacted double, triple taxes on people. Do you anticipate anything like that happening? How do they get this money back into their coffers?
I think it depends a lot on who wins, because each of them are going to have a different style. Like the Republicans are going to have a totally different approach on how we tighten up than the Democrats are going to have on how we tighten up. So, but they're definitely going to be able to tighten up. One might focus more on the corporate community and one might focus more on the individuals, increasing their taxation or reducing what money is sent to the states, but they're going to continue to move forward. And I think it's going to be a lot of emphasis.
Buy stocks right now?
Yeah. I think it's going to be a lot of pressure on the corporate community because the government did so much to help them through this. So I always feel that we should be in the stock market for the long term. So if somebody is thinking, oh, the stocks are down, and this is, by 2 years from now, no. If you're talking about the stock market, you have to be saying 10 years, 20 years, your kids, we need to be looking that long because we're going to have a lot of volatility over these next even 5 years. Now, I've been in this business so long that I have seen like 10 years of just being soft, of people like not making any more money than they're made. And most of our community really if they look at a 10-year gap, and even in America overall, adjusted for inflation, people really aren't making that much more money than they were before, 10 years ago. So, definitely that I feel that we need to reduce our debt. Most importantly, I think about us as individuals because we depend, unfortunately, a lot on municipalities. So if the government decides that they want to reduce their expenses, then they're going to be reducing a lot of the jobs that we depend on. That's a major employer for the Black community. States and cities and federal government, so we need to make sure that you have money available, that you're living far below your means. It's just a good habit. I don't feel that it's like impossible for us to think that we could go through a really challenging time because a lot of Americans have been through that. I've owned my own business for almost 30 years. I have seen a slow economy and had to continue to work through it. I think many people kind of get into a government job and because they're making the same money, they really don't feel the intensity of what's going on in the world. But it's not a currency issue. It's a business issue. And it's a personal, it's a public policy issue of the government can't be the only employer. And people, in our community need to be compensated on a higher level and to get out of depending so much on the government for our jobs, start creating our own businesses as well.
Do you not see the currency changing at all? You see it maintaining the status quo, same type of money?
No, I see a difference in the way we're going to be using money. I don't see money changing hands, but the dollar will still exist. But we're already moving towards like just tapping each other's phones and paying for things. But it's still based on the dollar. We still have, our currency. Look at in Europe. They were trying to change their currency, and look at how many people lost their job over the thought of it. That's a huge fight. Can you imagine the dollar? I just think that that's I just think that it's nothing that we should really be concerned about. I think that the key to financial success in life is so much more simple than we've convinced ourselves that it is. We really want to think that this thing is complicated, and it's not. It's all a matter of discipline and building assets and focusing your money on assets that increase in value over the long term, and that we've spent just a lot of our money on things that have depreciated. So we're starting every generation, unfortunately, without any platform. We're starting over every time. We're doing the
and we're racing the clock right now.
That's
JB,
right.
and I got a bunch of folks that still try to get you.
Thank you both.
But thank you for your call.
Thank you.
All right, 800-450-7876. Yvonne's next on line 2, calling from the district. Yvonne, you're on with JB Bryan.
Hello, Ms. Bryan.
Hi, Yvonne.
I have a question. I have begun to take my required minimum distribution from my 401k.
Great.
Okay, but the new rule says this year, 2020, I don't necessarily have to take it. I don't have to take it. I can let it just sit. So I'm kind of, just kind of puzzling myself, should I or should I not take it? Should I let it stay in? I mean, the markets are kind of very volatile now. But you got any ideas? Because my is now.
You should talk to a financial advisor about that. Do you have to? Are you saying that you don't have to take it because you're 71?
No, I'm saying the new rule says that that you do not have to take your required minimum distribution this year, 2020.
That's not a new rule. That's because of COVID-19. That's just this one time. So I thought, but the new rule is that the required minimum distribution doesn't start till 72. That's the new rule. But this is just.
Okay, I mean, I've been taking it.
Okay.
You're making me get my age now. I have already.
No, I understand, but I didn't want people to get confused. Like, you know what I mean? It was an opportunity also to teach people the new rule, the new tax law, I should say. The new tax law is 72. This COVID-19, because of how much the market has adjusted, like, so every time your required minimum distribution is based on the previous year's last statement. So that So your value for a lot of people is different, dramatically different. So instead of forcing people to take out money that no longer exists, like it might have been $300,000 and now their value may be $275,000.
Right.
So that required minimum distribution will still be based on $300,000. So they would be required to take out of the $275,000, let's say $50,000 or whatever, that on that money.
Hold that thought right there, JB. We got to take another quick break. And Yvonne, if you have a follow-up question, you can stay. Also, Charles got a question for you as well.
My friend Charles.
800-450-7876 to speak to our guest. Your calls after the short break right here on 1450. WOL, where information is power.
Welcome to the Carl Nelson Show on Washington, D.C.'s 1450 WOL Radio and live around the world on WOLDCnews.com.
And thanks for staying with us, folks. Let's complete our show with financial advisor JB Bryan. So, JB, you're speaking with Yvonne before we left. Yvonne, you still with us?
Yvonne, I'll tell you, girlfriend, I just say talk with your financial advisor. And I was telling you about that difference in the value because I wanted you to just know that you don't want to pay unnecessary taxes if you don't have to. That's a tip.
Okay.
That's
all right,
a tip.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All righty. Thank you.
Thanks, Yvonne.
Okay, goodbye.
All righty. And let's close out with Charles, the third on line 5, calling from the district as well. Charles, you're on with JB.
Hey, Carl. Thanks for taking my call, JB. Just got a quick question.
How you doing?
JB, can you talk about, it appears that most people's incomes will be down this year. So can you talk about the Roth IRA, how it might be a good time to convert over from regular IRAs to Roth IRAs, and also even people in their 401k accounts, how they can start sending money to the Roth portion of their 401k, and what are the merits of that for people?
Well, the reason to consider the Roth conversion now is because the value of many people's traditional IRA is down, because you still have to pay taxes. To convert from a traditional IRA to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. So when you convert, you want the value to be low if it has to be. Of course, you want it to be high, but if it's low and you take advantage of the conversion that year, then you are able to not have to pay taxes on the high value that it was, say, last year. So that's one reason that a lot of people are converting, people that have a lot of money and they have the tax money, and they can afford to do that change. But I feel that the Roth is always an option for someone who thinks that they're going to have an income tax problem as they get older. Now, the overwhelming majority of people that I know don't have an income tax problem when they get older. It could be because they're working with a financial advisor and I'm helping them keep their income under control. But I do believe that as we age, we need to have a couple of buckets of money. So the Roth IRA allows you to have an extra bucket of money. So if you're maximizing your 401k at work and you've maxed it out and you still have more money to save, that's when we start creating that extra bucket of money using the Roth 401k. But what people don't realize way too often is that Roth 401k is different than a Roth IRA. That Roth 401k, your contributions are limited in your ability to take them out before 59 and a half. Where on a traditional Roth IRA, if you have your individual Roth IRA outside of the work 401k, so just know that a Roth IRA and a Roth 401k are totally different things. And that if your income is going to be lower this year, it could be a time that you would consider converting from a traditional to a Roth because you're going to have, I guess Charles is saying your tax liability may be lower, but you're still going to have to pay taxes on all of that distribution from the traditional converting to the Roth. So it still requires some proper planning. We got to plan that.
But if the Roth growth is all tax-free, where anything like the woman who just called and said, as she does her
required minimum
mandatory distributions, she's got to claim and pay taxes on those. Well, with the Roth, if it's there for 5 years or longer, the growth and the actual amount that went in, you're right, you pay taxes now, but down the road at retirement, is totally tax-free.
Another bucket of money. That's right. That's why I was talking about the different buckets of money. That'll give you a tax-free bucket of money. But it doesn't give you what most people need right now is to reduce their taxable income right now. So I say maximum.
That's why I said, though, the income is be lower this year. So the need for reduced taxes may not be as great this year because people aren't working. They're not getting the income. So that's why I was asking, would this be a good year to do that?
It's always a good year to take advantage of any way to grow your money tax deferred. And if you don't need the tax deduction, definitely consider taking advantage of the Roth IRA and investigate that. And if you're at your job, consider, but I don't encourage people to look at the Roth before they do the pre-tax. And some people do that because they're thinking about, down the road, I won't have to pay on it. But you have a much greater tax benefit at this point because you're maximizing. Most of you who are even thinking about that are in your 50s, 60s. That's the highest income for most people you've ever made in your life. And you're trying to save. You want to reduce your tax bill as much as possible and use that as extra. And you could save more. You can save more than you ever imagined that you can and take advantage of those plans. Thank you for bringing that up, Charles, getting everybody excited because the more we just talk about these things, it increases the curiosity.
And we've got to run out of here real quick. JB, how can folks reach you real quick?
So please go to afroeconomics.com or hashtag Afroeconomics, hashtag JB Bryan. I have free events all week. Tomorrow I'm doing an Afroeconomics Teen Academy every Tuesday through April and May. So tomorrow is about how to pay for college yourself, getting these kids excited about money while they're out of school. Tomorrow at noon is absolutely free. Go to afroeconomics.com, sign up your teenager and yourself. And then the adults Wednesday night and Sunday mornings. So it's all about financial empowerment. Go to afroeconomics.com. Thank you so much, Carl, for the opportunity.
All right. Thank you, JB. Thank you for all the information that you shared.
Today's podcast was powered by JB Bryan Financial Group, a registered investment advisory firm and the home of Afro Economics in Virginia, Maryland, Washington, D.C., and New York.